In the very last years of the 1100s, Pope Innocent III called for a fourth crusade. His goal was first to conquer Egypt and then retake Jerusalem. The Pope promised all sorts of spiritual incentives and religious rewards to those who would join the cause. He told them they would receive absolution from their sins and that they would have eternal salvation. Land and wealth were also carrots that were dangled to entice men to join. And so, by October 1202, the army was ready to set sail from Venice to Egypt. The Crusaders had made a deal with the Venetians that they would pay them 85,000 silver marks to use their 240 ships to take them to Egypt. This huge sum was more than twice the annual income of France at the time, and ultimately, they weren't able to pay it. Savvy traders as the Venetians were, they struck another deal, that if the Crusaders helped them take back a place called Zara from the Hungarians, that not only would they give them passage, but they would also throw in 50 warships that they would pay for themselves, and they would get an additional half of any territory conquered by the Crusaders. There wasn't really much choice, and so the Crusaders agreed. And on the 24th of November, 1202, Zara was sacked. The Pope was furious. Zara was Christian, and so Innocent excommunicated both the Venetians and the Crusaders. The Crusaders were eventually pardoned, and the crusade continued on. But another detour was made. The Byzantine prince Alexios Angelos' father had been deposed, imprisoned, and blinded by his brother. Alexios wanted the throne back. He knew the Crusaders, again, still needed money and military support. So he offered both, and the reunification of the Byzantine Church with Rome, if they would help him reclaim the throne of Constantinople. He offered them 10,000 Byzantine soldiers, 200,000 silver marks, and the service of the Byzantine navy. The Crusaders agreed and diverted their trip. But when they got there, what they found was a huge political mess. The political situation in Constantinople was far more complex than they had anticipated. The citizens were divided, with many resenting the presence of foreign troops and the idea of Alexios IV reclaiming the throne. The treasury was nearly empty, and the promised funds and military support were not readily available. Alexios IV struggled to gain control and to fulfill his promises, leading to growing dissatisfaction amongst the Crusaders. Alexios IV was imprisoned and executed by the imperial chamberlain of Constantinople, who then promptly took the throne for himself. This chamberlain, now emperor, tried to negotiate with the Crusaders to withdraw their troops, but he wasn't offering to pay them. The whole reason the Crusaders were there in the first place was for financial aid and military support. In March of 1204, the leaders of the Crusaders and Venetians that had come with them resolved to capture Constantinople to settle their debts. And they formalized an agreement to partition the Byzantine Empire amongst themselves. On April 12th, 1204, the Crusaders plundered and destroyed much of Constantinople, including its churches, libraries, and artworks. It is in this very real backdrop that a legend emerged. A man named Wallon de Sarton who was from the Picardy region in France, had joined the Fourth Crusade and had been at the sacking of Constantinople. In the ruins of a palace, he found the head of a man encased in a half ball of transparent crystal, resting on a silver plate inscribed with Greek letters. The letters identified the relic as the head of John the Baptist. Wallon knew he had found something important, so he kept it, intending on bringing it back to France. When he was ready to return home, he was unable to afford passage, so he sold the silver plate in order to fund his journey home. In 1206, Wallon presented the head to the Bishop of Amiens. The bishop, now armed with what he believed to be one of the most important relics in Christendom, began building Amiens Cathedral. And there, the head sat until the French Revolution. In 1793, the convention ordered that the relic be buried in a cemetery. The mayor of Amiens, instead, took the relic and hid it in his house. In 1816, the head was finally given back to the cathedral, and in 1876, a new silver plate was affixed to the relic, as it had been when it was supposedly first found. Is this actually the head of John the Baptist? Well, there are 3 other places that say they have John's head as well. One in Damascus, one in Rome, and the other in Munich.